Hey geeks, this is Minx from AverageGEEK. It's time for our epic Star Wars podcast. I've got Loki with me today.
Hi.
Unfortunately, Dave couldn't be with us, but in his place we have an old friend. Rev returned from Geeked Out to join us for today.
I did, and I did bring a guest with me.
You didn't bring a guest, I brought the guest. Our special guest, Cloud, who is a huge Star Wars fan.
Huge Star Wars fan.
Yes. And he is giggling like a little schoolgirl right now.
I just picture Loki when he said hi, like deer in the headlight look. Hi.
Pretty much. So, like I said in our podcast preview, we will be talking about all things Star Wars.
Porn.
And all 6 movies, and then talking about the new one. I think we should start off with which of the 6 previous movies was your favorite? Who wants to go first?
I would probably pick Episode 5.
Why?
To me, it's like the biggest struggle in the whole battle. It's like, 6 bringing it in, Vader dies and all that stuff, but I think it really paints the story of the bonding between all of them in Episode 5.
Fair enough.
So which episode was your favorite one?
5.
Check it. Okay, 5. Why that one?
He just said.
Yeah. Did you have your earmuffs on again?
Well, what's your favorite of the 6 movies?
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
I would just say I like the second Indiana Jones better. Totally, it's my favorite one. No, I like the Star Wars. I like actually the last one where he becomes Darth Vader. It's my favorite one. Just because becomes freaking Darth Vader. Oh, yeah, and sweet Jesus, he was on fire.
So, 3?
Yeah, 3, there we go.
Okay.
That number. The one where he kills everybody and goes all wicked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I like that one.
Loki?
Mine's 4. And it's not really for any reason, like, I like the movie more than any others. It's just, that's the first one I watched as a kid. And that's
nostalgia.
It's nostalgia, and that's when I got introduced to Star Wars and sci-fi in general. So that will always be my favorite because that's the first moment I'm like, holy shit, is there more of this?
Wait, can we say shit?
Yes.
I didn't know we could say shit. Son of a taint.
My favorite was also Episode 3, and I think it's because of the prequels, we finally got to the story we had been wanting to see, which is how he became.
Basically, the first 3 were kind of like a
Darth
porno, and Episode 3 was the money shots when everything paid off. So it's true.
Also of the
It is true.
prequels, we had the better story. I mean, yeah, the dialogue still sucked.
I don't know, the dialogue was a little drug out on some of the scenes. I think they were trying to put too much explanation in there because they had probably cut more movie out than they intended. Most likely, usually how that works. But either that or George Lucas really needs to kick his writers in the face. One of the two.
He wrote it.
Oh, well, he can go kick himself in the face, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody can overlook the fact that because of 1, 2, and 3, Jar Jar was invented.
I love Jar Jar.
Everybody really hated on Jar Jar.
I love Jar Jar.
I thought Jar Jar was okay.
He's a hippie. He's a water hippie. He's a
Jar Jar was okay, but he can't get
issue was
It's comic relief in a different way than 4, 5, and 6. That's all.
What do you mean in a different way? Like what do you mean in a different way?
Well,
like
okay, so
because he's a fish.
Han, in a way, in 4, 5, and 6 was basically your comedy guy because of his wisecracks.
Wait, did you just compare Jar Jar, a swimming weed fish, to a dude trying to get laid by a chick with a lightsaber? I think you're on the wrong path there, buddy.
No.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, that's cool. You like your weed fish. I like the weed fish, too.
Weed fish are good.
I do. I love Jar Jar's people. They're
As
great.
opposed to Swedish fish.
Swedish fish. Nobody likes Swedish fish.
Stop.
They
They're always
taste like
hard
gold.
and nasty.
Anyway.
You gotta get him fresh.
God. What do I call this guy? Can I call him the other name? Is that proper? I don't know.
You could use Rev. That's my game name.
I don't know. I mean, will he be forever labeled Shipwreck? That's just not in the YouTube comments.
It's fine.
You sound like you're abused. I'm sorry.
Partially true.
It is.
Let's see. So that's kind of interesting. That means we've got 2 people who actually like the older the original trilogy, and then 2 that,
God, way
favored
to be
the
hipsters, you two, and
prequel a
not
little
be
bit.
current. Sweet Jesus.
So that's kind of cool. I like this.
I like
this.
them all generally. I mean, it's not like I like that
Yeah.
one, so I don't. I love them all in general. Like, if anybody
I
would say,
think they all have
all the
their
Star Wars are bad, I'd be like, then don't watch them. Shut the hell up and go die. I still like them. They're Star Wars, and
Yeah,
they gave us
I
Jar
think
Jar.
that-
I like the weed fish.
Star Wars
think
is not
they
just a
they
movie;
all
it's
have their
iconic.
merits.
It's life.
To me, it was like that big romantic, movie about knights and princesses, but in space. Basically, it was your fairy tale fantasy, but with laser guns instead of swords. Oh, we even had swords. For crying out loud, we had lightsabers, really. And the Dark Lord, Darth Vader, the Dark Lord in his dark armor with his magic powers. I mean, they just gave stuff different names in the long run, but for some reason, it just sold really well. I liked it.
Lightsabers,
I want a real lightsaber.
if you had a lightsaber, what color and style would it be?
Oh, I would have totally... Wait, what do you mean style? Vibrating.
Would you dual wield? Would you have
I would have
like
2
a
lightsabers.
staff?
I would dual wield.
Okay.
And
What color?
The color? Oh, sweet Jesus. If I actually had lightsabers, these things would pump like neon disco colors, because sweet Jesus, if it's a lightsaber, I'm going to party. It's a lightsaber. Do you mean like red, green, or blue?
There's a multitude of colors: red, green,
Let's face
blue,
it, if I had Jedi powers,
yellow.
I'd be a Sith, not a Jedi, so it's probably going to be red. Because you give me the ability to mind bend people, I'm going to the dark side. Screw it. What?
What about you, Rev?
That's the Force. Be evil.
Sorry, can you just say it again? What was the question?
If you had a lightsaber, what kind and color would it be?
Well, according to the Facebook exam I took, I would be using a purple lightsaber.
That's because you need to get circulation and take the rubber band off, but it's not healthy.
Because I'm
Make it
kind of
black.
in between. I wouldn't be fully dark, but I wouldn't be all for the good, so I'm kind of in between, like more of an aggressive.
So basically, you're a
hero in a way.
confused Catholic girl that doesn't know if she likes girls or boys.
Yeah.
Yeah? Just so that, no, you get the priest, because like, if you have a Dark Lord, he'd be like your priest.
And if I'm wielding a purple lightsaber, it's perfectly okay to wear the Catholic girl school dress, so it's opposite.
It is purple.
What about you, Loki?
I'm always partial to dual, so definitely that style.
Dude, now you're just copying me, man. Sweet Jesus. I mean, perfect.
Yes.
Totally copying me. My God.
I'm totally copying you.
You are.
Can
It is.
ask Minx. All my superheroes
Did you just
are...
call me an ass minky? What?
Yes, you're an ass minky.
Is that a name?
I don't know.
The new race of Star Wars.
And
Either.
I don't know if
Anyway.
it's possible, but I would probably, if I could, go with actually 2 colors while wielding 2 sabers, just because I think it would be cool.
All right.
But it would be blue and purple.
I got it.
Blue and
Black
purple?
lightsabers.
Oh, the dark
No,
saber.
black lightsabers.
Oh, a black lightsaber. Oh,
I'd
Lord.
fight in the dark. In white clothes.
That's what your wife said.
Oh.
I'm naked.
Mine would actually be orange
Ah.
because it is more designed for people who negotiate, have a negotiative mind, and they are also walking that thin line between dark and light.
You also look like you're wielding a giant glow-in-the-dark Cheeto, but...
Hey, if the Cheeto can slice through you, it doesn't matter.
I Cheeto will slice you a human being. Watch this. It's like 2 weeks old. I bet you cut somebody's head off. Where'd you go?
No, negotiations are out of the...
Negotiations are boring. It's like
Yeah.
negotiating's for people that, I'd rather just cut people in half, move on, be done with it.
Qui-Gon tried that and he got killed.
Well, he didn't do it right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Qui-Gon,
Which one's
And-
Qui-Gon?
let's go back to Liam Neeson. Let's go back to the prequels.
that guy.
Okay, so
I like
we were discussing before we started the podcast that in some ways the prequels kind of failed.
haters.
What do you guys think were some of the drawbacks to the prequels? Why do you think they haven't held up as well as the original trilogy?
I think they didn't hold up because the people that first watched it, we still liked it. And all of us that went back, basically, if you did, I think the survey was on is 90% of the people who watched them growing up did like the sequels. Most of the people who didn't watch them growing up just thought they were a bunch of gas space movies and didn't like them. So I think that's what wrong with them is everybody let all the people out after they got done watching Hello Kitty to watch Star Wars. Smack them in the face.
I think they honestly released that trilogy, that entire set, at like probably the worst time in like a generation. Because sci-fi, I think, was not a very big thing. Because being younger than most of you, but I mean,
what are you trying to say there, buddy?
You're old as fuck.
Can you say that on YouTube?
Yeah.
I didn't people growing up weren't as big on sci-fi. Like,
no.
I mean, it wasn't until I think I first watched it when I was like 8 or 10. And
you first watched what when you were 8 or 10?
Star Wars.
Which Star
Wars?
My
firstborn. So when I watched it, like, for whatever reason, that was like my introduction to sci-fi. Sci-fi was new to me. Whereas now, like, just sci-fi movies all over the place. People are more into them again. And growing up, I just don't think people... I think it was... people were getting out of that fad, I guess, and I think that's why the movies didn't do as well.
I think there was just too big of a gap in the fact that... I would say, even though like I didn't think he was that bad, Jar Jar honestly ruined that series for a lot of people because they thought he was too ridiculous to fit into the dynamic story that Star Wars really is.
Because they're haters. I love Jar Jar. Jar Jar for life.
I think the biggest difference is that when you compare it to the original trilogy, for the prequels, George Lucas did not have a checks and balances system. He didn't have someone to tell him, that's not a good idea. And he just kind of went off with it. He has grand ideas, and I can see how he wanted the ideas to go, but like some of the things that he's very prone to is that he doesn't know how to write in a way that allows you to get emotion directly from the characters, like body language or, letting people act. They constantly have to say what they're feeling. So the dialogue gets bogged down and just feels so wooden. And a lot of people, I think, blamed Jake Lloyd for the failure of the first movie. And to be honest, the kid wasn't that bad. He wasn't as wooden as Hayden Christensen.
Oh, yeah. No.
And this poor kid, like, he acted exactly like a little kid would act.
Yeah.
And what I think they should have done with the first movie is instead of having Anakin as a 10-year-old little boy who looked like he was 6 or 8, they should have had him as like a 14-year-old, because I think a lot of the scenes would have made more sense, like the pod race and the scene towards the end where he blows up the base.
See, that's where you're very terribly wrong. They were supposed to make the perfect sense they made. He made his point. The fact that Anakin could do all these things at such a young age was because of how in tune to the Force he was. He was beyond super. He technically Anakin until, well, even after Luke Skywalker is arguable that Darth Vader, Anakin, whichever name you want to give him, was one of the most powerful Jedis and could have been one of the most powerful Jedis in existence. I mean, as a kid, he just did all these things because he didn't need the same knowledge we do because the Force was so strong with him. That was the point he was making. That this little guy that does all these things these older people were doing that normally somebody his age wouldn't be doing, but he's doing it. That's the exemplary of him being beyond a regular kid's age. That was how he tried to show how exceptional he was. And it was fun.
I get that. I totally get that.
Who didn't like the pod scene?
No, calm down, calm down. I totally get that. The problem is that the age jump between the first movie and the second movie is too sudden, especially when you compare it to the original trilogy. Because in the original trilogy, you actually get to watch Luke mature in that span of time.
I agree with that. I feel like in the second one, they should have made him a little bit younger, and then the third one had him more of an adult-like. And that one would have been... but that's not where the first one falls short. That's where the second one falls short. Because the first one really did need to stay the way it was for Anakin to be perceived properly.
Because seriously, the second one, he's supposed to be 20 years old.
He's
acting like he's just hitting puberty and being a whiny-ass little bitch.
once again, the complexity of a kid that grew up without a father and the decisions that finally led to him to seek Palpatine as that figure and to take him on as his master. Those are the emotional issues that drive him to the dark side. Otherwise, you're just going to say he's an evil dick and wants to destroy everybody. But it's not true. He's just got this emotional turmoil inside of him. And it comes off as whiny, but if you pay attention to the lore of Darth Vader, it technically kind of falls into how he would go to the dark side with all this, basically having one giant Jedi anxiety attack, I guess. I don't know how to put it. It makes him seem a little whiny, but let's face it, he probably was really whiny. Self-entitled Jedi. Kick that.
I think another semi-flaw with the prequels, and don't get me wrong, I actually enjoyed the prequels. I found them fairly enjoyable. I liked watching, to find out how things went down, that led up to the original trilogy.
Honestly.
But I think one of the other major flaws was that he relied so heavily on CGI.
Oh, yeah.
Because, oh my god, we made it all shiny and new. That at this point, the first two movies look so dated.
Yeah.
I honestly think that, and this is going to be so terrible, and as a Star Wars fan, I know I'm going to go put my head into a wall, but honestly, as much as I hate this suggestion myself, the only time I heard anything that would have made sense, considering the age gap, and like you said, one of the biggest issues when watching the original and watching the new ones, it was like, they don't feel like they belong together anymore. They don't, it's too much. And this is going to sound bad, but if they were going to update everything so much like that, they really should have just rebooted the whole damn thing. That way it would have been one tight... Because even the first three movies had parts that never made it into movies, dialogue scenes. That would have been even, with him now making the first three with it, would have been perfect. Because he only took them out originally because he was doing technically the end of what should have been a long series of movies that never happened. So we got the end first. I think it sounds bad rebooting because Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, he's my hero, Joker, and all that shit, but it's the gap that kills him.
Had they made 1, 2, and 3 as a little more rustic as 4, 5, and 6 the original, it would have definitely made it a little bit easier and more acceptable. I still think it would have been not nearly as popular as 4, 5, and 6, but it would have saved his face a little bit.
I think if he had just toned down on the shiny and the dramatic, and maybe do it in the same sort of cinematography without making it too bad. Kind of keep the make them modern sets, but don't make them so overbearing that you go to Tatooine. Beforehand, it was one little set. They go back this time, it's this giant grand palace. It's like, okay, work us into that. Don't throw it all at once.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Show us that obviously the Empire looked shiny once upon a time before it fell, but seriously. The gap really is a huge detriment when you have that much time. It'd be like, then again, I've seen movies that aren't so gapped that just go to shit because the actors get tired.
Pretty much the only ones that really could appreciate the value of 1, 2, and 3 were pretty much like hardcore Star Wars fans.
Yeah, the ones that understood where the story was going, why it was going that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which, I see if he was making it for the general public, then you could call it a shortcoming. And if he was making it just for the fans, then I guess you could call it a success. So it's really perspective at that point.
Yeah.
I think if he was doing it to make money, he could have done better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they make less? Did they actually bank? Did they go even? Did he lose money?
I've never actually read the stats on it.
I don't think he lost money, but I don't think he made as much as he was hoping.
No.
Because I know he wasn't quite happy with the sales. But also, if you pay attention to some of the movies that were coming out at the time, he really should have banked those. He was hoping the name would carry farther than it did for the new generation.
Yeah, I don't.
They didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My kids saw a commercial
but
for
I think what Loki said, that it was just released at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Also hindered it quite a bit.
I actually think he should have released it years ago. Technically he had the means, he had the company. Why he never bothered to do it before would have been better too.
He jumped on the CGI bandwagon, that's why.
And I also
think
CGI. Yeah, I also think that, the lack of practical effects, which I'm so glad J.J. Abrams is insisting on bringing back.
Yeah.
Because there's parts in the first, in fucking episode 1, where Liam Neeson isn't even looking at whatever the CGI creature is. He's, looking off to the side. So you can tell they fucked that up.
Yeah,
I think
a little out there.
Right.
Well,
I
he
think
is
that,
kind of a Jedi that's crazy, so, you know.
I think that George Lucas does a lot better job when he's just consulting.
Well, I mean, I think
that's his strength right there, is when he kind of oversees / consults without getting overly involved.
I think he could have done these better, and I think he would not even without the overseeing. I think the biggest issue is, one, if you really watch them, they kind of, this is where I hate myself because I do like the new ones, but they do feel a little rushed on some of the plot points. They feel like they were trying to throw all this crap at you really quick so they could sell you the end of the movie, which, okay, I get it. There's a lot to say, and the Star Wars universe will never be covered in 6 movies. It's too huge now. But they felt a little rushed, and and like you said, you go back to they were explaining themselves. Like, they look at a pan, it's red. You notice they looked at the pan, it's red. That maybe had something to do with the scene before, but they're going to sit there and now narrate out loud why they're looking at the damn thing when you already figured it out. So it's like, okay, get it. You're sad and you don't like the pan. Why are you telling this? You know, you've conveyed that. Be an actor already. You know, the acting, some was good. The princess, she was terrible.
Yeah, I didn't like Hayden Christensen as Anakin. I felt that was
actually, I liked him as Anakin. I just felt like
I liked him better in the third one. I did not like him in the second one.
I think they should have worked with him a bit before they started the movies. I think he should have more time with that, because by the third movie he starts to grow into the role a bit.
He was really good at portraying that depth and that sorrow and that pain in the third. It definitely does not come across in episode 2.
But just also got to remember out there that this is the thing I tell anybody whenever criticizing a script. It's also the script. An actor only works the script they're given. If you're given a script that you can't do shit with, let's face it, we've all seen lines where it wasn't the acting that was bad, it was the script. I mean, and most of the new Star Wars movies, if you look at most of the actors, their biggest show, it was the crap they were saying. It was stupid. I mean, the lines they had was retarded. I mean, First Three has some cheesy shit, but come on.
Okay, I'm gonna throw out a hypothetical, and I want you guys to tell me if you think it would have made the prequels better.
Aliens.
And I talk mostly about the prequels simply because they were the newer set.
Most people.
Okay.
You know, they're looking to be able to bring the new trilogy as an improvement on what crap came before, and to try and compare to be comparable to the original trilogy and better than the prequel trilogy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, what if you cut out half the political bullshit, you keep on Darth Maul through all 3 of them, so that there is a physical villain that is not just old men with lightsabers. And Qui-Gon stays on for at least the first 2 movies before getting killed off. Because I feel like his death was just completely way too easy.
I do believe that you're right. If they did paint Darth Maul as a villain from the very beginning, as Darth Vader was and the villain from the beginning of 4, 5, and 6, that would have helped more as far as development. The politics could have been shortened up. I think it was more than it needed to be.
We're kind of necessary, though, just saying.
Yeah.
But there's a different way they could have done it.
I don't know. Keeping Qui-Gon alive would have changed any story direction or fandom.
Qui-Gon had to die to make a point.
Yeah.
Because for Qui-Gon, Qui-Gon's death is what moves up Obi-Wan training Anakin. Because even Obi-Wan, painted in the original movie, said he did not discover him. He took thought he could train them. They were already bound by that story fact, so they had to throw in Qui-Gon. Problem is Obi-Wan is the focus of Anakin's training. If you focus too much on Qui-Gon, you're going to abandon 90% of what makes Star Wars, and that's what leads up to Darth Vader.
Fair enough.
And Obi-Wan eventually running into Luke Skywalker. In this sense, that might be one of the few times you'll pay attention to George Lucas not fucking up the story. It's one of the few times he actually... I feel like Qui-Gon's death should have been a bit more heroic, per se.
I feel like his death was really anticlimactic.
I feel like they should have put a bit more into it. There should have been something. He should have been. He was a master. And he was an aggressive one. I feel like he should have been given a little bit more grandeur. Considering in the other two movies how the saber scenes went, they got. I mean, something.
And I feel like
Darth Maul was killed way too easy for being the badass he was.
Yeah, and I feel like he should have been able to
I think Anakin
kill Qui-Gon and then get away.
Anakin, this is just me being the nerd I am, but I feel Anakin should have had to kill Darth Maul to take his place as next to...
Agreed.
I feel like that would have somehow tied him over to going to the dark side. I feel like the point would have been made. Because they always tell you they can only be one master and one apprentice. Yet you have Count Dooku out there that had to get killed.
And for an apprentice to take over their master's position, they have to kill the master.
Yeah, so to take over the apprentice position, I'm assuming you have to kill the apprentice. And, I don't know if that's actually been said. I don't read enough of the books. Somebody out there might be a nerd and going to correct me here. I apologize to you people. I smoke too much weed. But... I'm just saying, it would have been cool if that had been... I know, as a nerd, I just feel like there would have been more of a grander exchange. Because really, he goes in there and just finally caves in like a bitch, and then he's like, go kill these kids and I'll go do it. I don't feel like he really had to go kill innocents. I don't feel like he had done anything to make that transition yet, to all of a sudden just want to go kill a bunch of kids. He just sat there and said, I'm going to go kill them? I don't feel like he felt enough to go do that.
The innocents should have been the precursor to, slaying the other master. Yeah, so...
Or I feel like he should have had to kill Darth Maul and then, as the new apprentice, go kill the innocents, because by then he's already taken life. He's committed to the dark side. He's now an apprentice.
Well, he kind of had already taken life when he knocked out all the Tusken Raiders upon his mother's death.
Not by a master's bidding, and not for the dark side itself, not for that transition. I feel like if they had saved Darth Maul, like you said, till the third one, give us a solid villain, because sweet Jesus, they kept bouncing around.
Dude, and plus the fact Ray Park is just amazing.
Okay, don't get me wrong. The robot guy, I forget his name, but he's a bad... Grievous, he will always be one of my favorites just because he's a giant robot. But, they kept bouncing around with the villains, so we don't really... You never got to really... Darth Vader was a prominent villain. You knew this climatic battle was coming. You were waiting for it. Mm-hmm. We weren't sure who Anakin was supposed to fight. It was going to be Grievous? No, he killed him. Was it going to be the other? No, he killed him. It's like, okay, seriously, who's he supposed to fight? He's killed everybody already.
That's another thing I don't know about, because the rule of the Sith was that there can be only two, the Master and the Apprentice. Well, Darth Maul dies in the first one. Who the fuck is Dooku?
Dooku's the new one. Grievous doesn't count as an apprentice. Technically,
but
Grievous doesn't work.
The thing is, Dooku was pretty much already on the dark side.
Technically, if you pay Dooku the way they tried to portray it, and they failed horribly, I feel, because not enough people seem to get this plot point, so this is what I'm going to say, they failed at it. He was trying to portray that by using Dooku as bait for Anakin to kill him, because he needed to feel the hate. You notice that one little scene where they try to get him all, Palpatine's pumping him up to take Dooku's life, He doesn't, but he was trying to. That's what they were trying to do. The thing was, they didn't do enough scenes with Anakin versus Dooku. They didn't staple Dooku as a villain to make that point like they should have with Darth Maul, because at least Darth Maul was a badass. Dooku was some geriatric that got too many Viagrans from getting fight. I didn't like Dooku at all.
I didn't.
I think that was what took away, some of the fun from the prequels, even though I enjoyed them, was that half the time after Darth Maul died, it was seriously like geriatric lightsaber battles.
No, I do like the third one when you start to see more of the battles come into play. You see more of the clones. You do see the Jedi's falling, because they did fall. They were going to have to die at some point.
One thing I did like that they you don't really get to see in obviously 4, 5, and 6 was Obi-Wan. I think it's probably episode 3 where he actually shows that he's a badass, that he can be aggressive. In 4, 5, and 6, he's the calm old man who can just manipulate people without really having to do anything anymore, because
he's a master of this guy.
Yeah. So I thought that was really awesome for me to see. It was awesome to see.
To see Obi-Wan actually prove he could be a badass, that he was the badass that he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that he could have killed Darth Vader, because technically he almost killed him once.
Seeing Yoda with a lightsaber was amazing in the Senate battle. That was awesome.
Dude, Yoda with a lightsaber in any of the scenes was badass.
The only issue I take with that is if you compare Yoda to Yoda who was training Luke in the swamp. He was sitting there telling Luke, it's not about your muscle, your brawn. It's not about the fighting, kind of a thing. And yet here he is doing fucking acrobatic flips and just.
Okay, I'm confused. What's his theory has got to do with his skill? He preaches nonviolence, but as Sith Lord, he's destined to fight. He's honor bound to kill a Sith Lord. That's what a Jedi does with a Sith. He has to fight him, especially being the Sith Lord. And let's face it, if the Jedi had a master, it's Yoda. He's the oldest Jedi alive in the universe that they know of. Except for the rumor that what's his face? Yes, was. But at the time in the movie when Palpatine in this scene, and his size does never beget his ability. I was always convinced because you knew he was a Jedi master. He was the strongest Jedi left alive. He was a true master of it. Yeah, it's kind of like the Obi-Wan thing. You never get to see him be a badass, so it made sense that he could do all that because the Force was his energy source. So I could see that tying into it. And he still preached, even in the new movies, he said no violence. But it's a Sith Lord. He had to fight the Sith Lord. He didn't chase him down when he could have. He could have pursued. He let it go when the violence was over. I feel like he stuck by his. I'm a huge Yoda fan if it does not show.
He held to the principles of
he did.
his teachings.
Part of me feels like it was almost too flashy, though. Because a lot of the fight scenes were beautiful, but they looked too choreographed.
With
you know what
Yoda,
I mean?
What it probably come down to is how do you make a 2-foot tall green midget look badass and fight something 6 feet or 5 feet tall? So how do you make him realistically? He has to be acrobatic, or he's not going to be very good at what he does because he's literally like a foot tall. I'm sorry, in real life that's getting punted. So unless that lightsaber can reach me, which you better hope it can, I'm guessing he's found a way to equal. And at least with him, it was only him they went that far with. Some of the other scenes they were a little flashy on some of the style. They were trying to show swordsmanship, and I suppose what you're saying because it wasn't so apparent in the first one, it still so it's like it stands out really much in the other ones. Because let's face it, we saw Luke do some cool stuff, but he was no Jet Li with lightsabers, so
no.
Which would have been badass, so.
All right, so now that we're about halfway through our podcast, I think it's time that we start to focus on the new movie coming out and how it ties in or could potentially tie in to the original trilogy. Now that we've delved into the prequels way more than I expected.
Question. Is anybody here think that Han Solo and Leia are actually going to have a kid in this movie?
Yeah,
I hope so, because it happened in the books. Didn't they have a kid?
Now, keep in mind, and I'm going to point this out before we really truly start discussing this, Disney, with the making of this movie, has completely retconned and thrown out the extended universe.
Yeah.
Say what? And you have to explain.
AKA, the books are no longer canon.
What do you mean? They're no longer what?
They don't apply to where 6, 7, 8 are going.
Oh, so
the only thing that is canon is the movies and then Clone Wars, that stuff.
So
and
I
Rebels.
wouldn't really say. I don't think they're going to be the ones that decide what's canon to be.
No, they announced.
No. I know
the
that
extended
they
universe
announced,
is no longer
but
canon.
they're taking over something that has been going on for so long. I don't think fans are just going to be like, yeah, all the books are no longer canon.
Okay, I'm going to have to agree with Loki on this one. I don't know what this announcement, obviously I didn't see it, but I will have to say this. Disney, if you watch this for any reason, do not throw out a complete universe with a bunch of angry little nerds that do nothing but watch this stuff and fap. They will hunt you down and kill you. You throw out an entire universe, unless they make the recreation very viable to throw and worthy of throwing out a complete universe where we say, well, that works too. They're going to be under more stipulation because let's face it, George Lucas, he just had to make movies that were halfway decent to the movies he already made. Disney has to prove themselves because if they fuck this up, Disney's going to have a lot of hate.
Yeah, I think they can more so be playing this off as our movies aren't going to be going along with
and then boom
canon that is already established.
Okay.
When you say canon, are we talking about things that shoot giant balls?
Yeah, your balls.
My balls, sweet.
I don't know. I just think it's going to anger people.
Yeah. I'm not saying that they can't come up with a storyline that's still viable into it. Even I can think of creative ways to tie all that away. So I'm sure some dude out there that's better at it.
Throughout the books...
See, they have an advantage over me because I never actually read any of the fictional
I never read the books. I read a few.
But, so, I don't have that to, plague my mind as far as going into 7, 8, 9. But we'll see.
I think the one thing I think that they're trying to go for is if you actually look up a bunch of the books, between the Solo children and the actual Skywalker children, there's way too many. I mean, there is a literal shit ton of children between the characters. I see them cutting that down.
I think there'll be one of each.
I can understand the cutting
like
down.
one of each, or a set of twins. You know, like, because seriously, like, you have no idea how many fucking videos I have watched where they're discussing the children of Han Solo and Princess Leia and Luke's kids, and it's like they have like 4 each.
Well,
almost.
I can understand
and it's
cutting
like that's
it down.
way too many.
Maybe they're Chinese.
Just like in comic movies, they don't put every detail in, but they don't just come out and be like, hey, you know what, we're going, and none of this that's been established in the Marvel Universe is going to be canon anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
well,
they would really.
Well, that's why just
it would really be a series botch if
they don't have to introduce them.
It's Star Wars Duggars.
All I know
Luke and Han Solo with all their children running around. Yeah.
Sweet Jesus. Just picture that.
Okay, so
Ewoks.
Right.
I don't know where they're going to take the movie per se.
I got to pose one question here.
Okay.
What would you guys think if an Ewok and a Wookiee mated? I don't know if that thing would be cute and horrific at the same time, or if you would just get a really tall Ewok.
You ever watch that show Alf?
I feel sorry for the Ewok if it was female.
You know what? What's funny, Clown? I used to have an Alf
Same here,
puppet.
I used to love that show.
Alf.
Like I said, I don't know where they're going because it's really hard to speculate. With the teaser trailers they've shown us, you obviously know that it's going to be Force related. It's Star Wars; it's always got the Force in it. But what only thing I can say, in my opinion, and obviously that's whatever that's worth, but is like you said, if they I can see them possibly throwing out some of the crap that's gone because they're going to have to. You can't put all that crap in movies. George Lucas showed us in the last movies why that's a bad idea. Streamline it, make it a movie. Don't try to make it Wikipedia.
Yeah.
We don't need to know every little detail. Just give us a story, make it pretty, make it engaging, make it work. It doesn't have to be, The Hobbit. You ever read that? I don't want to see that movie for him. Disney has to establish this because I don't know if you all watched Dragon Ball, but if Disney Dragon Ball is a Star Wars, I will personally find the new Walt Disney and chase him down. Because Dragon Ball's horrible.
Okay, so Han Solo and Leia married.
They better be married.
With kids?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We know Luke is in hiding.
Yeah.
He is in seclusion, and I'm assuming that part of the movie will be regarding finding him.
I think he's hiding in Dagobah.
Wouldn't he be the last Jedi Master alive?
Yeah.
I believe so. Because since his father's death, he is the most powerful.
Believe it so.
As far as planetary, where he would hide, I'm obviously going to hands down pick Dagobah because it would be the hardest to locate him there because of the amount of life force on that planet.
It's not just that, and that's also why Yoda hid there, by the way. So that makes you the genius. Because
I know
you can't detect anybody down there.
Yeah.
But 2 is also because I also feel if they were going to have Luke in hiding in like a reclusion, like like Yoda did. Nothing. If they could put that scene in there, that for a lot of us would tie that movie home right there.
Oh yeah,
I mean
that he went to where he was taught, and to hone himself. I think it would be huge.
There'd be
for
that
me.
circle in that movie that would just right there. Disney would have me. I'd be like, okay, you're going the right way with this. That'd be at least a step to acknowledge.
All right. So other things we know thus far. Because we know that they just released another little teaser tidbit. It's like 15 seconds of awesome.
Sex life.
I had to
things
change
we
my
know.
plans after that. It was pretty good.
My sex life?
Right.
That's awesome.
Things we know is that there's several bad guys supposedly featured in this movie, which I hope they don't over. I hope they don't Spider-Man 3 it.
Yeah, like they tried to put in all
Okay.
of them at once. Let's face it, who thought Venom was a complete rip-off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was played by the guy from That 70s
Yeah,
Show.
Brock was a lot bigger than that, just saying.
Yeah.
Way bigger.
I mean, geez, Brock in the first movie was a meathead.
You?
But, or no, that was Flash. Never mind. Anyway. So we've got Gwendolyn Christie, who, if you watch Game of Thrones, she's Brienne of Tarth.
Okay.
The girl,
I know,
little girl?
I know who,
That makes sense.
who is she playing?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't notice that.
Captain Phasma, who is the Chrome Star Trooper.
Oh, okay.
That's who she's playing.
I like her.
And
Wait,
it's
the little
confirmed bad
midget
guy.
girl is going to play a Star Trooper?
No, dude, Brienne of Tarth. She's the big chick knight.
Oh, sweet Jesus, I love that woman. She scares me, though.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
good pick.
Yeah.
She's huge.
Yeah, so she's
Wait.
Captain Phasma.
Wait, that
and
really
so
is a
she
chick?
is the.
Oh, I thought it was just a
Yeah.
dude with a blonde wig on and shit. She's
Nope.
going to hunt me down and kill me now, isn't she?
Probably.
Oath Keeper's coming next door.
We've got Donald Gleason as General Hux, which I'm not quite sure what he's doing. We've got Andy Serkis
Yeah!
playing Supreme Leader Snoke, who is actually Kylo Ren's boss. Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver, he's the bad guy. He's the one we see in all the trailers with the
I have a feeling
tri-saber.
I'm really going to like him. And maybe I'm like, I've totally switched my roles in, my old age. But I was always, about Luke, yada, yada, yada. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of started to favor more of the Imperial side and their drive and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that character.
One thing we did learn, as revealed by J.J. Abrams, is that Kylo Ren is not a Sith. He is part of the Knights of Ren, which apparently do follow the dark side of the Force, but not Sithly. What is your guys' feelings about that?
Say what?
That he's not Sith? Is that your question?
Yeah, that he's
I
not.
think it's a good twist. Or because the Sith thing has obviously already been done in 1 through 6. So it is still an arch, nemesis in this movie, but he's not the one that we expect or that we've known already. It could be detrimental to the fact that, most people are like, okay, it's the light side versus the Sith. So that could make it a little confusing for other people, but I think it's a good thing.
Well, I mean, you could have a person as a villain. They don't have to be a Sith Lord to be a villain. I mean, the Jedi were peacekeepers of many natures. They didn't always just fight the Sith, so you could have a villain of any nature, and you wouldn't ruin the story. I mean, let's face it. How much of the new movies did they actually fight Sith? They fought everybody else. The original ones, seriously. Luke Skywalker spent more time on fighting the Sand People than he did the Sith Lord. I mean,
That's true.
so I mean, the Sith. Or just became, it was George Lucas' stereotype anime. It was his grand trilogy to tie it all together, I guess, in 6 movies.
Do you think the Sith will
I
eventually
think
show
so,
up?
because at some point, the Force has to be balanced.
Yeah. Who that big leader is, I don't know. But I think Minx, you and I read something a long time ago when we first watched, when we were doing AverageGEEK together, something about that there was even a more powerful Sith Lord than Sidious that had been in hiding, kind of pulling the strings, that Sidious was just another puppet. I can't remember what that was.
See, that's another thing that brings the Sith thing into question about, there can be only one apprentice and one master. If there was somebody also pulling the strings, how does that work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, do you think, because there's a lot of theories out there, do you think Luke will go bad?
I think there's a risk of it, and I think we may see him succumb to some of the dark side here, but I think, unlike his father, he will be able to save himself and in some way maybe redeem himself, even though he may have done wrong before that point. That's my guess.
I think maybe we'll. I don't know. I think if they make him go bad, it's going to be too cliche. So I'm hoping they stay away from that. I'm maybe hoping they play it off of maybe in between all of this time, we see that he possibly did some stuff that probably wasn't the best, but in the end, he ends up doing, like, the reason why he's secluded is because of that, and maybe he's going to redeem himself in this next trilogy.
Okay.
At least that's what I hope.
What about you, Clone?
If they make him go bad, I'm gonna cry. I really got no other answer for. I mean, I could see where they could make the hero turn into the villain, and how that could be plot viable and many plot twists and all that great. And the thing is we've watched Luke Skywalker. He spent all this time being built up to be the hero. We've already seen one guy go from hero to villain. We called him Darth Vader. Doing it with Luke Skywalker, we feel like they were just trying to. Well, you see, his dad did it, so now he's going to do it, and it just feels cheesy. And I don't know, this feels a little cheap.
I agree. Here's what I think. I don't think he's going to go bad. I think he's pretty much taken the Yoda position. I think he's there almost solely to
train.
Yeah, to be a backup role and
the
pass
torch.
on the Jedi knowledge,
I
passing on the torch,
anticipate-
or literally the lightsaber.
I'm going to call this right now because I want to be. This is being like actually put on YouTube, so somewhere this will be. I'm going to call it. He dies in the first movie. Just saying.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised. I
could see it.
Mark Hamill's an old person. He's not making 3 more movies.
Yeah. I think that he passes it on. Even though it looks like from the released art poster and this recent trailer, even though it looks like Finn, who is John Boyega, is holding, if you notice, it looks like he's holding Anakin/Luke's first lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, because you remember in a earlier trailer they showed that lightsaber being handed to somebody while he's doing the voiceover about, the Force was strong in my family and with my father and me and my sister and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't think he's handing it to Finn. I think he's handing it to Rey. Daisy Ridley, the chick.
Yeah.
Heroes with lightsaber. No, I don't care. Just takes his lightsaber. I think he'll give it to both.
I think I think he'll give one to Finn, but I think that one will eventually end up being hers because I think she's actually related to them.
So, do you think that she will be the main focus, like the prime hero?
Actually, they've said that the main focus of the film, the main cast member from the original cast that's going to be a focus in the film is actually going to be Han Solo.
Huh.
$5 says he's the one that's got to go find Luke Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine this scenario. They need Luke Skywalker because there's a problem. Han Solo comes into the picture. Han Solo, first movie, Mika says, will be focused on the idea of finding Luke Skywalker because I'm going to assume at some point that he's got to be integral to the story moving forward. They've made some reference to it. Mm-hmm. But that, and then, because let's face it, nobody knew where Luke went except Luke. But if you were going to hire anybody and from the 3 movies to pull him into the new movie and said, this is the guy that's going to go find him, who would you call?
Well, and I mean, I'm thinking that Han is married to Leia.
Yeah. And
he might have actually a clue as to where Luke went.
He could.
Luke's probably going to be concerned about his sister.
I feel that Rey is either... who do you think Rey is? Do you think she's Luke's kid or Han and Leia's kid?
Really?
Because that'd be too easy. We'd see that coming.
What about Kylo Ren? Do you
I think
he's
he'll
related?
probably be related.
I think he's Luke.
Hence the holding the saber. I think that's a hint. But I think she's not. I'm not saying she's not got the Force. I'm just saying somebody in there's got to be there's got to be a twist in there somewhere. Otherwise, they're really going to just make.
I honestly think they're going to make it a little cliche.
You think so?
And I think Kylo is probably Luke's son, and
probably his daughter.
The chick is actually Han and Leia's daughter.
The son, male.
Because she
Because
still has the
there's
same
there's
bloodline.
rumor.
Yes.
Well, and Leia is actually, if you compare the two, more of the good character than Luke.
Always was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She didn't actually kill people, and he was frustrated with it.
Yeah. I do think they're related. There is some rumor, if you actually put some of the scenes together, that, you know, when Han is flying through the atmosphere and whatnot in the Millennium Falcon, that he's actually rescuing Rey and possibly Finn.
Well, that would make sense too. I mean, they make it higher somebody break.
And if that's his kid, why wouldn't he? You know?
I'm hoping at some point, as much as I want them to stay somewhat true to the universe, I do want them to shake it up a bit. Otherwise, I mean, because I didn't mind with the last movies knowing how the ending was coming, because that was the whole point of watching it. If they're going to make new movies, they need to be new. So, to some extent, to make them unpredictable to people who, because let's face it, there's nerds out there who could probably tell you every word of those novels heart by heart, and if you're going to try to surprise that guy by going by lore, you're just not going to do it. He's going to see the viable twist, so they're going to have to do something to make the movies new for this generation, or it's just not, like Loki said, when he first saw them, they just didn't click to him.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to have to do the same thing, and the old literature is made for a generation with different appreciation and taste, so they got to kind of, something's going to have to change.
Some of the things that they have revealed about Kylo Ren is that he is obsessed with the lore of Darth Vader, and that he is possibly on a mission to find old relics, which could be why we see the Darth Vader helmet. They also say that his mask is a homage to Vader, although I think the mask looks a lot more like Darth Revan.
Yeah. Darth Revan.
However you want that. Yeah. Revan, you know. I feel it looks more like Revan's mask than Vader, but I mean that could also be to appease the game.
You know what I would do for the new villain if I was writing this story? Not that they'll do it, but I think it would be the perfect way to. Is at the end of it, whoever the villain is, make him Darth Vader's son as well. That'd be perfect.
Like he had another kid?
Why not? I mean,
because I'm pretty sure his dick got
well,
burned
yeah,
off
it may have, or maybe a genetic recreation. I don't know. Find some way to tie him into.
I could see them doing like
tie
a
him
clone
into somehow having another person and somehow recreate, or even, and I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool too. I mean, I know that sounds a little cliche to the long lost, you know, but you know, I mean, if you're gonna be cliche, it'd be kind of fun. I mean, probably not gonna happen because let's face it, like you said, everybody's gonna say, what would he do with Robo-Dick? Put in batteries. That's
with the latest, like I said, the artwork, like movie poster thing that was done in the classic style, that shows, you know, Kylo Ren and Rey and Finn, and the little snippet that I showed you guys before the podcast. It shows Finn with the lightsaber that looks strikingly like one we're all familiar with. How do you guys feel about him being a potential new Jedi? Because a lot of people are just exploding over this.
You're talking about the stormtrooper that turns, right? Okay.
Yes, Finn Boyega, or John Boyega, who plays Finn. A lot of people are flipping out about this, whether it's because he's a stormtrooper who becomes a Jedi, or whether it's because of his race, or because they think he's not actually going to be a Jedi, that he just kind of picks up the lightsaber in order to fight Kylo Ren. You know, what do you guys think about it? If he is the next Jedi? What do you guys think about that? Are you bothered by it? Because a lot of people seem to be.
Being a Jedi, why would that?
Not at all.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by it, and
but they're still people. So easy to get haters out there. My God, stormtroopers are people too.
The one thing they've already established in all of the films so far is that no one can control who the midichlorians speak to and what they do when they feel that presence.
Actually, I'm gonna say with I don't know what to call them, sort of shitbrick. but I'm gonna call him Sparkles. So, but Sparkles said here was kind of makes sense. He liked that, didn't it? Made sense because it would also make that point that if a stormtrooper could be a Jedi, then it really is the Force is attracted to everything, whether man-made or not. And it kind of, I mean, I don't know if they'll go there, if they'll really try to drive that point home, but that's kind of how I would take it if they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just perceive that the Force literally is in everything. I mean, it's not really. I mean, it's a stormtrooper. If you don't like stormtroopers, quit watching Star Wars. Sweet Jesus, they're everywhere.
Yeah, the Force has never been about who the person is. It's what that person becomes when they know.
And that we know stormtroopers can't shoot nobody with a laser gun; they always miss.
Yeah, so maybe finally the stormtrooper realized they need a lightsaber to hit something.
See, what happened was one stormtrooper was like, I'm trying to miss and crap. I need this Force power for myself, and all he wanted to do was, hit one bullseye and get promoted. People just don't want him to succeed.
If people are outraged because of his race,
that's just racism.
Go back and
I want you guys to go
watch
back.
Mace Windu, you fucking assholes.
Yeah, I want you guys all who have a problem with his race, I want you to go to Google, type in racism,
and the funny
hit
thing
enter, and read that.
The funny thing is, Mace Windu was actually, like, if you actually go back in lore, he was actually one of the more badass Jedis because he was one of the few who actually played with both light and dark. Can we point out the obvious?
The Jedi Master was a 1-foot-tall midget green frog. Sorry, excuse me. I mean, so let's not talk about race when their master was a frog. So
yeah,
anything after that just seems weird to be complaining about it. Just saying.
Plus the fact Mace Windu
not
was
that Yoda was
Samuel
actually
Jackson.
A frog.
End of discussion.
And he was tired of the snakes on his starship.
I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this Millennium Falcon. That's gonna be all right.
So we think Kylo is related. We think Rey is related. Other than
are related.
I'm
not. I don't. I'm just hoping they're not. I'm hoping that they break
Does
that
anyone
up a little bit
think?
there.
Does anyone think that Finn is related?
When you say Finn, I'm waiting for Tom Sawyer to jump on.
I honestly want.
I don't think so.
He's related to Mace Windu somehow.
But
you think so?
It would explain why.
Because they are
actually.
But I mean,
just so you know, I know where Finn comes from. I just figured it out. Finn is from Leia's, college years. It's a little bit of a throwback. Had a great party. Mace showed up. It was a frat party. Shit happened.
I mean, Mace was one of the
one
other
thing I will.
Freaking Jedi Masters.
He was pretty badass.
One thing I will point out is that they are purposefully not telling you Finn and Rey's last name.
I'm assuming because
it's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, because then you'd know whether they were or were not related. Because right now, the biggest thing selling this movie was the hype.
Yeah.
We wanted new Star Wars. George Lucas promised us new Star Wars. We got Star Wars. Problem was, the people of this generation wanted a different kind of Star Wars. We didn't get it. We got it, but the new ones may not look like the old ones, but let's face it, they still follow a very cheesy pattern that's very similar. The new ones look like they're going to, from the teaser trailers, look like they're going to be a bit more. And it makes sense, they're new movies, so you don't have to compare them to anything. I'm hoping, I just forgot what I was saying. Sweet Jesus.
The train fell off.
It happens.
What was I talking about?
We are almost out of time, so I want to leave on a potential theory that is floating around. We know that Kylo Ren, that Ren is not his last name. Ren is a reference to the Knights of Ren. What do you guys think of the theory that Luke Skywalker actually created the Knights of Ren and that they kind of shifted, and that's why he went into hiding?
I think that would play into what I said earlier.
I mean, it's viable.
He didn't mean for something bad to happen, or that wasn't his intentions, but he made a decision that went wrong.
Like an attempt to rebuild, like, the Jedi Order, but, like...
Exactly,
and
so he secluded himself.
But making a huge overstep in the process. I think that's very possible.
I think that we're all pretty
that's
sure
interesting.
that the Wookiee told him she was 18, it wasn't his fault.
And if that's true...
And that's how we got out.
That would make more sense if Kylo Ren turns out to be his son.
Yeah.
Actually, that would make sense, because then it would be his son was part of the order that he helped create. So I can see where that would actually be a pretty,
and
be pretty
there,
too.
Actually, hold on, give me a moment, train of thought.
Oh shit, he touched
that would make some sense as to why Kylo Ren is so adamant that he is in the right and that what he's doing is correct. Because if it was his son, and grew up around all that, and then was in that, that's what he was taught. And then all of a sudden,
why did you kill our grandfather?
No, bye.
Why did you kill your father? I could see him resenting, like, if he is Luke's son, him resenting Luke and his decisions. So
I could see, because at some point it's gonna have to be a family issue in this thing, because it's the Skywalker family, one way or the other.
Yeah. It's a circle.
If they don't have a family, or if they don't have something there, then the humanity of the show get lost, and we end up with Transformers like the last one, and all you got is a bunch of people blowing shit up, and nobody wants that.
I think if you look at it,
sorry Transformers, but you were bad.
You have the Force in kind of its nice climax in the first 3 movies. Then it becomes completely unbalanced because the person who was supposed to bring balance went bad. And then you have Luke who brought balance, but now at this point, most of the Force users are gone. I think this is bringing it back to its peak. So creating.
I haven't read the book, so if this thing of mine actually plays out in any of the books, once again, nerds, don't hate me. I don't read as much as you. I have a sex life, but seriously, what was that? The whole thing about the balance? I think that we're going to find out is there's going to have to be a Sith at some point, because I don't think a Jedi can exist without the Sith and vice versa. I'm hoping in the climax of all the story, people find out that the balance really means that somebody's going to have to be the Sith Lord.
Yeah, there has to be good in.
That could be Kylo Ren.
That could be the beginning.
Oh
my God, that'd be badass.
That would be the reason for the red saber. Maybe he doesn't believe that the Sith were necessarily bad. Hence why he thinks he's in the right.
Or it could just be a classic sin that he just fucking goes over the edge.
That too. Yeah,
that'd be cool. And Luke Skywalker, if he was his dad, would be the guy. Oh, that'd be a fucked up family reunion.
Now it's the reverse father.
Oh, sweet Jesus. That'd be actually poetic in its own right. I'm going to lie, a little cheesy, a little foreseeable, but kind of fun to watch. Now you're kicking your kids out. You just can't have a family reunion.
So with a lot of this, I gotta say, I gotta go against you on saying that Luke might die in the first one.
No, you people don't want him to. I'm just saying I'm calling it now.
No. I'm saying if any of this goes this direction, I think they might drag it out to him dying
in the second one.
Maybe in the second one, but with that though, I also do think I don't think Han's gonna make it very long in the trilogy.
Well, I don't think any of the old actors are, because let's face it, they're sorry, Han.
They're not they're pretty much here supposedly mostly just to pass the torch to the new.
Check this.
Well, you need them for the tie-in, so they have to be first, but I don't think they're necessarily to be in the second.
We've always watched technically how Jedis become Jedis. The closest we've come to watching a Sith Lord become a Sith Lord was we watched Obi-Wan become the apprentice. Not Obi-Wan, but we watched Anakin become a Sith Lord's apprentice. Darth Vader, he wasn't a Sith Lord at that time as we know it. He wasn't technically close to the end of the other movies. But we never actually watched a Sith Lord become a Sith Lord. It would be amazing if this time the focus was watching, like you said, let's say it's his son, and he's becoming the next Sith Lord. Like maybe he was part of these Ren people, and they went a little too bad, and he goes farther with it. And let's say he crosses over, and then he kills his father off, hence beginning the new cycle and the new storyline. Because then somebody else is going to have to defeat him, hence the other sibling.
Yeah.
That'd almost be kind of cool too. Might not be plausible. There's probably going to be somebody that hates on me. I'm sorry, guys. I make up weird stuff because it sounds cool. Don't hate me. But it could be cool. I think
that's the internet.
I think it would be cool from a personal point of view because nothing ties dramatic.
They're not going to go away from the family origin kind of stuff. I don't think that's going to happen.
The biggest chemistry between Luke and Darth Vader was after you found out he was his father, because at that point it becomes personal. It becomes real. You can't run from that anymore.
I think that was the main strength of the original trilogy, was once you realized that it was an emotional
he had to face this villain, this horrible villain, but at the same time, this horrible villain was his dad. I mean, when you look at this, we can all relate to that.
Could you imagine knowing that? Could you imagine knowing that you have to kill this person, and it turns out it's your father, and you have to end him?
That's a fine job.
I mean, talk about a major mind fuck.
For normal people, that'd be like totally hurt your head. But I could see them doing it sibling against sibling because, you know, a duality has always existed in most of the Star Wars movies, so it would be the perfect duality, light, dark, if you would, or force, not force, however they want to put it, and then sibling versus sibling, so it's completely, quite literally, two sides of the same coin, especially if one's a girl, one's a boy. You catching this whole yin-yang thing I'm going here? It could be amazing.
Loki, you were going to say something?
I mean, like, I understand the original and how it was, and how it was probably a mindfuck for him. But at the same time, the one part that always got me was like, I understand you found out this was your father, but at the same time, he didn't know where his father was all this time growing up. So why would it make as big of a impact?
Well, because this entire time, he thought that Vader was simply the man who killed his father.
So he hated this man. Just absolutely hated this man who killed this iconic hero. That mentality he had of his father in his mind. And then he finds out that the villain that killed his hero was his father that killed his father. It's really, in that sense, it's some deep literature in this storytelling.
It becomes psychological.
In all originality, the first three Star Wars movies made, the writing was much more dramatic in telling of the story than it was all new ones. So.
True.
And that's actually why that trilogy got made first, is because that was the meat of the story.
Luke fighting Vader.
I think they're going to go
father and son.
Based on a lot of the new trailers and stuff that we've seen. It looks like they're going to maybe go a little bit more dark with this, a little bit more back to the, I guess, gritty. And so I'm hoping the writing goes that way too.
Well, like I noticed in some of the scenes, like you notice in the sets, they look much more natural to the sets. It doesn't look like they over CG'd the crap. And the way.
Well,
the way the filming was doing, like the lighting and stuff, it like you said, it felt like it had a bit. But Star Wars has plenty of room for dark.
Oh yeah,
all
did you
kinds
see,
of room for dark.
I don't know if you guys saw they only have one photo that I know of so far, and it was the first cast photo for Star Wars Rogue One.
Okay.
And even that looks much more gritty.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of actually.
For anyone who doesn't know out there, Rogue One is one of the anthology series, which they're no longer calling the anthologies. They are now calling it a Star Wars story. It takes place during the original trilogy. When they're referencing in the original trilogy, when the Death Star's plans were stolen, that is the plot of Rogue One, is that it's when they stole the plans.
Best part, Alan Tudyk is in it.
Oh yeah, Alan Tudyk, hands down, it's already going to be awesome.
What? I forgot.
I'm leaving the win.
We are out of time, so we won't be able to discuss Rogue One. But if you liked this podcast and want us to do another one, whether it be on Star Wars or some other epic subject matter, other than porn, clown, let us know, either on our Facebook page or somewhere on our YouTube. I'm going to really try to start getting our podcast up on YouTube. It's just a question of editing. So, any final words for our listeners, guys?
I hope everyone enjoyed, our theories, our thoughts and opinions and things like that. And I had a good time actually get to work with some of my old Average Geek buddies, so that was pretty fun for me.
God, that was so gay.
Yeah, you love it.
I'm not his old buddy. I'm just the guy that's paying him by the hour after the show.
Oh yeah. I get by the hour? Wow. I'm with that.
All right.
As always, don't do drugs.
Yep. I want to give a special thanks to Rev and Clown for being our special guests during this episode. And in the words of Dave, don't be jerks on the internet. All right. Later, geeks.